So we have three checklists in this module that I'd like you to use when you're conducting your desktop due diligence. The first checklist that I'm showing you right now is the checklist for the market research. Now, I'd like to make it really clear that this whole course is about buying a home. So when you're doing your market research for where you're going to buy your home to live in, so imagine that you are wanting to move from the first home that you bought to your dream home or to a bigger home because your family has grown. You're not moving city, you're just wanting to stay living in the same city that you're living in, but you want to buy a better home. So that's one scenario. Another scenario is, yes, you could be wanting to stay in the same city and buy your first home. You could be wanting to buy an investment property. And if you're wanting to buy an investment property, it may not matter where you buy that investment property. In fact, it shouldn't. And the reason I say that is because you're looking for numbers. An investment property is an asset that needs to work for you. It needs to perform financially, and that's why you're purchasing it. Okay, so buying your home, I believe that the market research is different from buying a home to live in to buying an investment property. And let me show you why. When we're doing market research, don't worry, the links for all of these are further along in this module. There are these 10 things that you can research if you're looking to buy a place. Some of them are more important than others, depending upon what you're buying. If you're buying an investment property, all of these are important, okay? Because you're going to be analyzing the market and deciding which city you're going to buy an investment property in, because it's an asset that has to perform and work for you and make money for you. If you're buying a home, it's most likely you're already living in the city that you want to live in. You just need to find the good pockets through your research. So the market research that you do when you're buying a home is probably not as full on, okay? Because you don't really have a choice. You're either moving to, say you were living in Sydney and you're moving to the Sunshine Coast for work. So you've got to find somewhere on the Sunshine Coast. So you're not looking at the whole country to find something that's going to perform. You're looking for a home to live in. It's more of an emotional decision. So the market research is different. I'll circle the main 2 or 3 that I think are important for buying a home. But let's just briefly talk about each one of these. There's the median price trends, and this is the middle number in a list of all the home prices that were recently sold. And so when you go into, so for example, the CoreLogic monthly report, the median price trends will show, and you, depending upon what report you look at, where you get your report from, you can see different suburbs in Australia, what the median price is. And so you can see these, is that middle number, the median price, is it going up or down? Okay. The way that that will influence you if you're buying a home is you need to foresee that the prices are going up, or you need to realize the prices are going down, which will influence how much you potentially make as an offer on that home. Housing cycles. This is where the housing price goes like this. Okay. So at the moment in Brisbane, it's like this. It was like this for a little while. But there are other markets in Australia where it's like this. The gist of this is that housing prices go on cycles. Okay, it's not like this all the time. Obviously, prices on houses now anywhere in Australia are more expensive than they were 100 years ago. So obviously, there's the up trajectory, the up trajectory. However, within that, there are cycles. And so if you're buying an investment property, the idea is that you'll get it right before it's to head up. Okay? That's what we mean by housing cycles. They're influenced by things like, the housing market generally goes quiet over Christmas. People aren't actively buying homes as much as they are at other times of the year. The number of sales, how many houses have sold? Are the numbers going up or down? So are the prices going up or down? Are the numbers of sales going up or down? Days on market, how long does it take to sell a house at the moment? So it's the median number of days homes are listed for sale. So how long is it taking? So in a seller's market, they're selling quick. Lucky, happy sellers, they can put their house on the market and it sells quickly. So that's usually 35 days or less. In a balanced market, it's the houses are selling in a range between 35 to 90 days. Some might sell quicker. You get those perfect houses in those perfect streets, in those perfect pockets, they'll go quickly. And then, so they may well go for less than 35 days. However, on the whole, a balanced market means that between 35 to 90 days, the majority of houses are selling within that time frame. And then you've got the buyer's market, which means that the sellers aren't selling their houses so quickly. And the buyers can be a bit more firm with their offers, a bit more firm with their negotiating. And so that's what it means by days on market. So far in that column, the ones that I would really like you to look at as a home buyer, being a clever home buyer, is you want to have a look at the price trends. Are they going up or down? You want to have a look at the number of sales. Are the number of sales going up or down? And you want to have a look at the days on market. Is it a seller's market or a buyer's market? Knowing that is going to influence how much money you offer to buy a home. All right, on the other column, we've got vendor discounting. That means the sales agent put the home on the market for 1.1 million, and then after a month, they've dropped the price to 1.05 because there wasn't a lot of interest. Maybe the seller was adamant that that's what the home should be marketed as, and if the market, the people buying, the buyers have just said, no, it's too expensive, it's not worth it. So then they've dropped the price, and that's called vendor discounting. That can also be because the market is slowing and okay, so the market is no longer going like this. It's starting to even out or maybe even dip. So that's vendor discounting. That's an interesting one to be aware of if you're buying a home to live in, because that may well also influence how much you make as an offer on that home. The number of listings, the number of houses coming on the market. Are there more houses on the market this month than there were last month? Or are there less houses on the market this month than there were last month? That will influence pricing because there's scarcity, supply and demand, stock on market. So that's the number of homes for sale. Auction clearance rates, that's the number of so this again is showing buyer sentiment in that how easy is it to sell a home at auction? How many of them are actually selling, or has the market started to cool and therefore the seller isn't getting what they anticipated they would get at the auction? Mortgage rates. If people are taking advantage of a cut in mortgage rates, there's going to be more buyers on the market, and that will affect supply and demand. And rent trends. So I would say that out of this, many of these will apply to you. Number of listings, pay attention to that. Is there less homes on the market now than there were a couple of months ago? If so, that's a reduced supply. And if there's a reduced supply, why? And is that going to affect prices? Will the prices go up slightly because there aren't as many homes out there? Competition might be fierce. Auction clearance rates, having a look to see if that is indicating anything. Mortgage rates, yes, that could mean that more buyers are coming into the market and therefore prices, it's more of a seller's market because there's more buyers out there to compete over the houses that are for sale. And the trends in rent. I would say those ones there are the most important for home buyers if you already know which city you're going to live in. If you don't know which city you're going to live in, then that's a perfect one for you. And then depending upon rentals, whether or not that applies to you, the weekly asking rent for listed rental properties over the last month. If you're an investor, you're going to be looking at what's happening with the rental returns. Yay! Sorry, I made a mess of the page, but at least it allowed us to have a chat about it. That is the sort of information that buyers agents pay attention to when we are conducting our due diligence. Thanks for listening.